I got hired by a private equity group to come in and be the vice president of corporate services for an early childhood education company. But when I got to this company, I discovered that they hadn't sold a new facility in 12 years. And their biggest competitor, a company called Bright Horizons, was just eating their lunch on every single deal, even though the company was doing, anywhere from 2 to 5 proposals or RFP responses every single month. So they had an entire bid desk set up for it. They had salespeople set up for it, and they weren't closing anything. So I started digging through it, trying to figure out why they weren't closing. And I, went through the RFPs, I went through the responses, I went through what I knew, and I couldn't find any reason at all. And just one day, an RFP came in for a company called Advo. They were getting ready to send it out. And I just asked the question, does anybody know anything about this? And the answer was no. And I'd like, well, why are we doing that? Well, we got it. So has anybody called and asked any questions? Nope. And oh, by the way, Jeb, you can't call and ask questions. It says right here in the RFP, you can't talk to them. We have to get this in first. And, it dawned on me in that moment what was happening. Like we had no relationships with anybody. We were getting these things blind, and we had no chance of winning them because our competitor, Bright Horizons, was writing them all. I mean, they had already had the relationship with them. And these are sometimes, $10, $20 million deals. What we did in that situation is I said, we're not going to do any more RFPs unless we talk specifically to the CFO, or excuse me, the CEO. And they looked at me like I'd lost my mind. What do you mean? They're not going to let us do that. And I go, well, if they won't let us do that, we're not doing the RFP.
Right.
The only way we're going to do this is talk to the CEO. So I don't care if it's if the HR people send it to you, if anybody sends to you, that's who we're going to talk to. And we'll never win anything at all. And I go, have you seen the evidence? We're not winning anything at all. We started with this company Advo. We just called them and said, we're not sending the RFP in until we talk to the CEO. There was gnashing of the teeth. We're not going to do that. But they needed us because there was only 3 or 4 companies in the entire United States that could do this. So finally they agreed, and we flew to Connecticut. We sat down with the CEO. We had a wonderful conversation. Turned out that there were things that he wanted that really weren't in the RFP, because the RFP had been written by professionals who write RFPs. And he liked us enough that he introduced us to the committee of parents that were in charge of the decision making. We spent a couple of hours with them. We convinced them to redo the RFP to include the things that they were interested in, and we ended up winning that deal. And we wouldn't have gotten it if we hadn't changed the game. And oh, by the way, if they said, no, you can't talk to the CEO, we knew that was never going to get decided on. It was going to be a no decision. So all it was us spending time giving him free consulting for something that was never going to happen.